Hi, everybody. I'm Tamara Zoner.
And I'm John Davis.
Welcome to Spirit Cafe.
Come in, sit down, and
grab a cup of love.
A Spirituality Without the Guilt podcast. Hey, guys, it's John Davis, and I am here for another episode of Spirit Cafe. Very excited today. Tamara and I like to bring on guests, and occasionally one of us doesn't, or both of us don't know a lot about the person. And today is one of those days, and I love these the best because these are where we get the most authentic conversations, and the real energy of the person is in a real conversation rather than anything pre-prepared, which we never do prepare anything, do we, Tamara?
No, we never prepare.
Right. So Tamara, how are you today?
I'm great, John. I'm actually having a much better time now that I've been talking to you for a while.
Well, that's good. That's good. I enjoyed it. I'm really excited about our guests today. Why don't you want to introduce them?
Sure. I'll tell you what little I know about Derek OShea. I met Derek in a Facebook group from a business coach that we both work with. And simply, well, first of all, to be quite frank and honest, I just love accents. So I love accents. I married a French guy. I dated a New Zealander. I love accents. And so I heard Derek talking on one of our calls and I was like, I love this person. So I need to be in it. And his energy is just so lovely. You don't often feel really light, lively energy from people. And that's what Derek has, this really light, uplifting, bubbly, effervescent energy that I need to be around, right? And so I wanted to share his energy with our fabulous listeners. And Derek does energy healing, but I'll let him tell us more about that. So welcome, Derek. We're so grateful you're here. And why don't you just give us your own intro? How do you like to be introduced?
Thank you so much. Oh my God. You can see my smile after those lovely words that you said. I really like that. Thank you. It's nice that people respond well to my energy. So I am a healer and a transformational coach, and what I do is I help people to heal basically from their unresolved childhood traumas and issues and release their subconscious limiting beliefs so that they can finally feel at peace inside themselves and show up in their life, in the world, with unshakable confidence, belief, and trust in themselves and what they have to offer the world. My clients usually tell me that the work that we do is like magic because the shifts they experience are just so profound and they really happen so fast. And I absolutely love every single bit of the work that I do, and I really do understand, and I really do understand now why I'm here, and I'm here basically to introduce this work into the world more and get more people experiencing it, Mm-hmm. So yeah, I love every single bit of what I do, and I can't wait to go forward and talk with you guys. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you here, and I'm fascinated by the use of the term walk because I think it's a beautiful term. It's about how we move through life, and when you describe teaching someone the walk, what is the walk?
The walk, the walk.
You said you're teaching them to walk through life. Well, what is the walk through life?
No, I'm teaching them how to show up in their life. I don't think I said walk. I said we're working on stuff so that they can show up in their life with unshakable confidence, belief, and trust in who they are and what they're here to offer the world. I think you misheard something because of my accent is so strong.
Well, and you're French, right?
But I like the walk through life, and I like the idea of walking through life with unshakable confidence. And that was the phrase that stood out for me, was that unshakable confidence. So, the reality of life is that we don't 100% of the time have unshakable confidence. So tell us more about that. Like, what's your definition of unshakable confidence?
So what I find unshakable confidence to be is the confidence that you can find within yourself when you're not triggered anymore by daily life, and you're not like triggered by the stuff that happened in your past. And like where you're kind of like trigger free from all of this stuff that went on in your life before that, like all your childhood issues, to the point where you can stand up in a room of people and feel totally comfortable in your own skin.
I love
you
that.
Get me?
Yeah.
And this is the work that I'm doing, because that's the work, like when I started on my healing journey, that was one of the biggest shifts that I got for myself, was really just dissolving all those insecurities that I had, to the point where like I just felt so like good inside about who I was, like to the point where I could like be in front of people and speak my truth and not feel like uncomfortable or insecure after it. And for me, that's where the unshakable part comes in. And it's through this work like that I was able to achieve that, and I help my clients do the same.
So do you have a set process you go through with clients?
So I use like a blend of a couple of different healing modalities, but the main healing modality I use is called Theta Healing. Okay, so Theta Healing is an energy healing technique which allows us to identify and release subconscious limiting beliefs. Okay, like releasing them from our subconscious, from our energy really, really fast, and replacing them with like more positive, empowering belief systems and new positive feelings and awarenesses. And when we do that, we're also like identifying the origin of where the beliefs were created. So the experiences you've had in life that created them, and like 99% of the time, it will always go back to like something that happened when we were a child that created these beliefs inside us. So that's where we're going. We go right to the origin, and using Theta Healing, we're able to actually fully release any like negative charge associated with the experience, release the beliefs that were created, and then replace them with new positive beliefs using a very quick energy healing technique. It's a meditation technique.
Right.
And I facilitate all the changes for my clients through that.
Wow, yeah, that sounds a lot very similar to what I do as well, and it's very much rooted in very serious ancient tradition as well, because the original translation of the Buddhist phrase "life is suffering," when they actually translate it conceptually, which is what they should have done, it's actually life is suffering because of habitual response to our subconscious belief. And
Perfect.
what happens is people's subconscious belief is developed in their past experience, and you've got to go back and you've got to change those beliefs. So I totally get where you're coming from. Do you find when you're working with clients that you have to kind of explain the process to them before you do the work?
I always explain the process, because I want them to just know what I'm doing, like, and where we're going. So yeah, I always explain the process. I mean, it doesn't take too long. But yeah, I'll always tell them like about Theta Healing, like what it does, what I'm doing. But generally, they don't seem to care. They just want to get the results. So they don't care they don't care, like, they don't like, I don't care how you do it, just do it. Like, and then so we just do it. Like, but yeah, of course, I always explain the process. So I'll actually just talk you through the process a little bit. So what it is with Theta Healing, we're connecting, what I'm doing as a practitioner is I'm connecting into divine energy, source energy, and I connect into this energy using this meditation technique. And it's from that space that I can like essentially reprogram the client's subconscious by releasing the old limiting beliefs, the old traumas, the old energy, and replacing it all with new, better, positive, empowering stuff. And what I'm doing as well is I'm actually witnessing all of those changes happen in the client space. So like during a session, we'll be getting to the root of stuff, and then I'll ask the client, okay, so would you like to just change all this? would you like to release that and replace it with X, Y, and Z? And I'll have my eyes closed, because what I'm doing is I'm connecting really quick, and then I'm just witnessing all the changes happen in the client's space. And yeah, it happens really quick, but it's amazing.
So magical, and it makes so much sense when you consider that most of our wounds happen in early childhood, right? And we're in this meditative brainwave state from the birth to about 7 years old. So if we're in a theta state, then it makes sense that you'd have to take us back there to change the programming, because we were just absorbing and literally we're sponges until we're about 7 years old, and then the brain starts to wake up.
Well, I mean, the clients, it's me who's in the theta state, so it's me who's in the meditative state. My clients just show up, answer our questions, just do the talking, and then they just give me permission to make the changes. It's not essential for them to be in a meditative state, although I do take a lot of clients through the process of connecting. Like, I'll often do group energy clearance where I'll get everyone to connect, and then we'll do like a group clearing from that space. So there's many different things that you can do with this technique. But yeah, on a one-to-one basis, my clients don't really need to be connected. That's just, I do all the work.
Do you feel that your clients need to have faith in what you're doing?
Do you know what? All they need to have is a belief in something that's greater than us. So whether they want to call it, like, if they believe in the energy of the universe, that's perfect, because that's what it is. If they believe in divine energy, if they believe in source energy, if they even believe in God, like, that's perfect. It's whatever they associate with that, like, that higher power, basically. As long as they have a belief in something like that, then it works. And even if they don't, like, as long as they give permission for the changes to happen, the changes will happen. Like,
right.
So they just need to give consent. Like, once we've identified stuff, they just need to give permission to change it, and it will all change.
Interesting. I find that belief is a big part of healing, that the person being healed needs to have some kind of belief that it will happen. And I think that what you're saying is yes, but you're not limiting where that belief is coming from, or you're not trying to push it towards any one thing. That's very much in line with what Tamara and I do. When we talk about God here, we call it God, universe, / yada yada.
I know.
Because it's not about that. It's the universal source.
It's all one thing. It doesn't matter what you call it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
names are just put on it. So I totally get that. And I love the idea of the people having to have faith in something to receive. And when you're in the process, do you go through a process of finding out what their belief is, or you just, it's not important?
No. So you mean, do I go through the process of finding what their belief is in, like, in spirituality?
Yeah. I mean, so for instance, say, a Christian comes in and they believe in God, and do you gear everything towards God? Or, somebody else comes in, do you gear it towards Shiva or Jesus or Buddha?
Well, I haven't attracted a lot of different people like that. So I haven't attracted in a client that believes in like a different God and calls it that. Like, the people that come to work with me, they usually just fine with calling it like the universe, like universal energy, or a couple of people like the term God, and I would just use that language with them because it feels comfortable for them. But essentially, it doesn't matter as long as they're getting the healing work done. That's all that matters.
Right.
We can call it whatever they want to call it.
Right.
I totally agree, because it is all one thing. So tell us, like, how did you get here? What was your spiritual upbringing, if you had any, and what drew you to this work?
So I never had a spiritual upbringing. Like, I got into spirituality kind of by force, because I just really had to, because I went through, like, what you would call it, like, my awakening, or my dark night of the soul. I went through, like, the worst time in my life, like, basically around the age of 22. Like, if I can sum it up very short, it would be like everything, any kind of insecurities that I had, and all, like, anything that I went through in life, like trauma wise, it was all just like everything came to a build up, and then it eventually just starts spilling out, you know, to the point where I became quite unwell, like physically, and not only mentally, but it was like I kind of just needed to get better, basically, and going down the conventional route just was not doing anything. So I just started looking online, like curiously, and I found, I think the first thing I found, no, definitely the first thing I found was EFT tapping. So I started with that, and then that was amazing. I got great results with that, and then I kind of found Theta Healing then a few years later, and this was then like the fastest kind of transformation I've ever received. Like EFT, it does the same thing that Theta Healing does. Like you're working on like releasing like negative emotions, attachments to past experiences and beliefs as well. But with Theta Healing, it literally just does it like in a fraction of the time. So it's just the same work, but just so much faster. So yeah, so then I found Theta Healing, and that was really like when my true like transformation came, like where like that was when I started developing the Unshakable Confidence. That's when all the insecurities I started identifying, all the insecurities that I had, anything that just wasn't like, that was just holding me back in terms of me and who I was, my self-worth, my value. I worked like relentlessly, like one-to-one with other healers, on finding what all that was and just clearing it all out. Like, and then gradually I just became so much more connected and spiritual. And I was like, right, okay, I have to do this now, you know? So I was like, how could I not do this? Like when what I'm after going through and how it's at the change of me, I was like, I can't not share this with people. So that's what I'm here to do, like, is to allow other people that were kind of dealing with like life the way I was, allow them to just come through that like fast and not suffer, you know?
Mm. And how long have you been doing this work?
So I've been doing Theta Healing for about 6 years, I think, in total. Doing Theta Healing. I started my own healing journey when I was 23. I'm now 34. So 11 years I've been doing this work for myself. And yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm so happy that I went through that awful time when I was 22. I'm so glad it worked out that way. Well, I mean, I guess it was always going to work out that way. That's like the way it was going to be.
I love that. And I think John and I both agree that what we go through is for us and for people like us, people who are of service. It's so that we can then better serve others. And like you, Derek, I only teach what I've used. Like my favorite tools in my own life are the ones that I've become trained in and use every day with my clients, because it's like what works so beautifully. And I'm curious, I love EFT and I teach people EFT. In fact, I just did a video on that last week. And I love it so much because when they're no longer working directly with me, they still have these tools at their fingertips, literally, right?
Yeah.
So
amazing.
And part of what I am all about with my own clients is empowering them to then be their own teacher, to be their most important teacher and their most important resource. And so I'm wondering, in Theta Healing, is it the same idea? Like, if I come to you and I'm like, Theta, heal me, Derek, then do I need to keep coming back to you? Or is there a point where I have access to this myself?
Right. So it really depends on what kind of results that you want. Like, you can come and work with me for like 3 months with one specific issue that you're dealing with in life that you just want out of the way, you know, or a couple of different issues. And we can get to the root of all of those and completely change them. And then your whole life will be changed. Like, and you can just be like, okay, I got everything I wanted from that. Like, you fixed this. I'm happy now. Like, You know, like I got what I came to get. Like, well, you can always go deeper. You can always change more things. You can always work on more stuff, you know. But one of the best things, like no matter how long my clients work with me, they always walk away. And because I use a combination of like different kind of techniques and I coach them a lot as well, they walk away with a lot of tools as well as doing the deep healing work on themselves. They're walking away with so much more awareness.
Yeah.
You know, after like letting go of everything that's holding them back. So they're much happier, much more confident. They've all this value in themselves now, but they also have so much more awareness of themselves and other people, to the point where, like, I had one client, I had a chat with a past client there a few weeks ago, and she was telling me like, oh my God, since working with you, whenever I have, you know, like the little voice of doubt that comes up in my head, whenever I have that come up, I'm able to now identify it as just, it's not true. And I can just like get out of it. Whereas before, it would just eat her up. So like that's a tool that she was able to kind of like create within herself through our work together, you know, having that like ability to catch what was going on and just let it go and know that it's just not real. So like there's many different benefits to, I guess, this work, and then essentially working with me as well. Like,
awareness is so key for anybody's healing, and that's that conscious living that a lot of us in this space talk about, is bringing awareness to it, because you can't change anything you don't know about.
yeah.
Right. So if I just am walking through life and I never even catch that inner critic or that inner bully beating me up inside, then I can't change it. But if I start to notice it and become more aware of it, then I can do something about it.
Yeah. Totally.
Thoughts, John? You look.
I'm just kind of taking it all in. I think it's kind of it's very interesting. It goes in line with a lot of what I teach as well. I'm just kind of drawing it all in. And I actually don't have a thought right now. My mind is kind of
speechless.
That's highly unusual, Derek.
That is highly unusual. I am a talker.
Oh, I love that.
Always has something to say, some question.
Always.
What is your favorite way to work with people, Derek? Do you like one-on-one? Do you prefer the groups? Do you do in person right now, or is it all virtual as well?
No, I don't do it in person anymore. I just do totally everything is online, because with this work, you don't need to be in person. That's what's so amazing about it. But yeah, I work one-to-one with people mainly. We'd work from anything from between 3 months to 6 months together. And that would include like one-to-one sessions and support in between the sessions as well, just for any other stuff. But I do really love, right now, I love working one-to-one with people. That lights me up the most. I have done group stuff, like I've done group meditation evenings in person, like last year and the year before back in Ireland. I've done group workshops, group energy clearance and stuff. I've done lots of group work, but I really do like thrive supporting people one-to-one, because there's a lot to kind of dig into when you want to get specific stuff changed. Like when you're working one-to-one, like it's easier for me to help them identify what's at the root of their exact issue. And then there's other things to figure out as well in the sessions. Like there can be like subconscious ways that it's serving them to hold on to the old trauma, the limiting beliefs. And what I do is I help them find all those as well, so that we can like change that energetically.
People
And
really don't like to have to look at
why they might like it.
Yeah, like you're repeating this really harmful pattern, and I'm wondering how it's serving you. And what are you talking about?
It's like, yeah, one of the questions I always ask them, and it's a big part of the one-to-one work I do. It's like, okay, so if there was a positive lesson in this, or a positive learning that you could be getting from this, what do you think that could be? And when it's always with a new client, they're always just like, there's nothing positive about it. And I'm just like, yeah, but there kind of always is. Like, so like, but they're always just like, no, there's nothing positive about it. I hate it. But then when I guide them into kind of like what it could be, what I feel it could be, because I always pick up on what it is intuitively anyway, like all the kind of information just kind of channels through me. And then when I suggest it to them, then they're like, oh my God, yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And then I'm able to fully release it. Like,
yeah.
Excellent.
Have you always
Wow.
been intuitive? Or have you always been connected with your own intuition?
no, I mean, that's, as I said to you earlier, I was never like, I never had a spiritual upbringing. I became spiritual like through my own awakening, through my own walk. And that's really when I became connected and really started to like know what intuition was and to trust it. Because before that, I just didn't even trust myself. You get me?
Yeah.
I would always ask, so I'd ask somebody else, like, what should I do here? Tell me what to do. That was always the easiest. But now, like my intuition, I've noticed, especially within the last year, my intuition, like working with my clients, has just been off the charts. Like it's just amazing. Like the stuff that comes through, and they're all like, they can always kind of say to me, "It's crazy. I feel like you literally just like took everything out of my head." But even though I wasn't aware of it, they're like, everything you're saying is like so spot on. And it all just kind of floats into me, like when I'm in the middle of sessions and stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely getting stronger and stronger.
I totally get that, because I have the same sort of situations and I'm sure Tamara does as well, where she gets into a session with somebody and she'll just start saying the right things or saying the things. Yeah, it's just the way it is. So
you get a lot of stuff prior to a session, though, don't you, John?
I do. I write down like a page or two before I get into a session with someone, and then they get in there.
Oh,
and
wow.
like, I have no idea what this crazy stuff is, but let me read it to you. And they're like, "Oh my God!" Start crying. And it's like,
I don't. I don't. I go in like with a complete blank canvas. I just go in and say, oh, "Okay, what are we working on?" And then they'll just tell me one thing, and then I'll just dig into it then with them.
Yeah.
I
sit down. I don't want to know anything about them, and I sit down and I start writing about an hour before. And I just start writing notes, and I start getting, sometimes I get song lyrics, sometimes I get, and the song lyrics, the lyrics are always the perfect thing, because it's like one lady had a mother and father issue, and the song Camp Granada is "Hello Mother, Hello Father." Right? And I was like, what the hell am I hearing that song for? And I got right into it. It was mother and father issues. Hello Mother, Hello Father makes perfect sense. So I get a lot of that kind of stuff. Or I'll get just the weirdest sentence and it'll just make perfect sense to them. It makes no sense to me. So Derek, how do people get a hold of you?
What I'll do is I will share my link tree with you guys. It's probably the easiest way to get me, because there's just so much there's like my Facebook, my Instagram, my website, and there's like a ton of like free resources, free workshops for people to download, and meditations, everything. My website is OShea.com, but I'll share the link tree with you so that people can grab that and just take a look through and see what they want to digest.
That sounds perfect. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's been amazing.
Tamara, you want to take us out?
Sure. Thank you, John. Thank you, Derek. It's always super fun to hear about different healing modalities and to meet the different people who practice them. And listeners, tell us what you think. Ask your questions. And we love to communicate with you and build community, because we're all really in this together. So thank you for being here, and we will talk to you again next week.
Thank you for joining us at Spirit Cafe, a place where you can safely explore your spirituality without the guilt or dogma of religion. Leave all comments and suggestions on the Spirit Cafe podcast Facebook page.